The world-renowned pop star Michael Jackson was at the very pinnacle of success. Billions of dollars, a fairy tale-like massive mansion named Neverland, and worldwide fame. What didn't he have? Yet despite all of this, his personal life was in utter turmoil. Due to the brutal abuse by his father during his childhood, he never got to experience a normal childhood. Even though he attained everything in the world as an adult, he could never soothe the scarred inner child within him, suffering all his life from a strange loneliness and restlessness. This event points out right before our eyes that outside glamour or a bank balance can never cover up the void of inner spiritual peace or childhood trauma. From today's video, you will learn how to completely heal your inner soul despite the rat race and endless frustrations of the outside world and achieve a powerful life of eternal mental peace and stillness.
Part 2. Discovering the True Peace and Power of the Soul. Chapter 12. Eliminating the Inner Void. No matter how glamorous the outside world is, a person's true identity and mental peace lie hidden within their morality and character. Without moral values, a person can never be at peace from the inside. When you walk the path of honesty, kindness, and justice, no outside storm can shake your inner soul. Cato the Younger, a famous politician and Stoic philosopher of ancient Rome, was known for his absolute honesty. When bribery, corruption, and the greed for power were at their peak in Roman politics, Cato remained unwavering in his principles. He used to walk the streets barefoot in simple clothing so that people could understand that the glamour of power is not what matters. When Julius Caesar tried to seize power through tyrannical means, Cato opposed him at the risk of his own life. Cato knew that power or wealth is temporary, but the peace of one's soul and morality are eternal. Because of his uncompromising character, both friends and foes remember him as one of the most respected and cool-headed individuals in history. Action item for today. Today, do one small good or honest deed. Part 2. Discovering the True Peace and Power of the Soul. Chapter 13. Healing the Inner Child. Our childhood neglect, trauma, or unfulfilled desires remain stored in our subconscious mind even after we grow up. Until you can accept those past inner wounds and forgive yourself, true peace will not come to your soul. Learning to love yourself by saying goodbye to past anger and resentment is one of the primary conditions for steadying the mind. The world-renowned pop star Michael Jackson was at the pinnacle of success, but his personal life was in utter turmoil. In his childhood, his father inflicted severe mental and physical abuse upon him, as a result of which he never got a normal childhood. Even after gaining billions of dollars, a fairy tale-like house named Neverland, and worldwide fame as an adult, he could not soothe the scarred child within him. He always suffered from a kind of loneliness and restlessness. This event teaches us that outside glamour cannot cover up inner spiritual emptiness or childhood trauma. For that, it is necessary to consciously accept the past and heal yourself from.
Chapter 14. Leaving Greed Behind. Our mind always suffers from the disease of wanting more, more money, more fame, more success. Knowing where to stop in one's life, meaning knowing which point is enough for you, is a great virtue. If you cannot define the boundary of your contentment, your soul will remain trapped in a blind and exhausting race all your life and will never find stillness. When J.P. Morgan, one of the most successful financial tycoons and bankers of 20th century America, was the owner of immense wealth, a young journalist asked him, "Sir, Exactly how much money will it take for you to be satisfied? Morgan answered with a calm, ugly smile. Just a little bit more. This incident is a brutal example of humans' endless greed. Despite being one of the richest men in the world, the sense of enough never came inside Morgan. On the other hand, famous authors like Joseph Heller and Kurt Vonnegut once went to a billionaire's party and said that they possessed something that the billionaire would never have, and that is the realization that what I have is enough for me. Today, if the desire to buy any new thing arises, such as clothes, a gadget, or food, ask yourself, do I actually need this, or am I just wanting to buy it out of temporary greed? If it is not a necessity, refrain from buying it. Chapter 15. Not falling for the illusion of outer beauty. Every day, we are staying blind to the artificial glamour around us, the blue light of screens, and the illusion of materialistic things. Connecting your soul with the selfless and eternal beauty that is scattered amidst nature is essential. When you learn to gaze blankly at a blooming flower, the morning sun, or the night sky, all the worldly exhaustion within you will vanish, and your soul will be filled with a heavenly tranquility. During World War II, when Anne Frank, a Jewish girl of just 15 years old, was confined day after day in a tiny dark attic in Amsterdam to save herself from the Nazis, she had no way to step outside. Looking at a chestnut tree and the blue sky outside through a small crack in the window was her only solace. Anne Frank wrote in her famous diary, "As long as this sunshine and these cloudless skies exist and I can enjoy them, how can I be sad? Nature is the only medicine that makes one forget all hardships." Even amidst the fear of death and captivity all around her, Anne Frank found the peace of her soul within this simple beauty of nature, which even the great free men of that time could not achieve. This afternoon or evening, take your eyes off the screen of your laptop or mobile phone for at least 10 minutes. Go to the veranda or roof of your house, look toward the sky.
Chapter 16. Expressing Gratitude. Our entire life passes away while regretting the things we do not have in our lives. Expressing gratitude from the bottom of your heart for whatever you do have is essential. Gratitude is not an ordinary word, it is a powerful shield for the soul. When you learn to say thank you by looking at the small achievements of life, all the jealousy, resentment, and unrest within you will vanish like camphor in an instant. During the American Civil War, when President Abraham Lincoln was passing through the most difficult time in the country's history, news of the deaths of thousands of people reached him every day. All around was only despair, war, and political conspiracy. Even amidst this extreme mental pressure, Lincoln followed a peculiar rule. He often kept small letters of thanks and gratitude written by ordinary citizens or soldiers in his pocket and read them alone at night. Even in that horrific situation of war, he officially declared Thanksgiving Day, a national day of expressing gratitude in America. Lincoln knew that no matter how much darkness lay around, there was no greater power in the world than expressing.
Chapter 17. Believing in a higher power. When we think that we must run everything in this universe under our own control, only then does our soul become tired and restless. Believing and placing trust in a power larger and higher than oneself, be it the Creator, nature, or the laws of the universe, is essential. When you learn to understand that the control of everything is not in your hands, and there is an ultimate controller to look after you, the burden of all the worries within you will become light. During World War II, when the world-renowned psychologist Viktor Frankl was imprisoned in a Nazi concentration camp. Thousands of people were being killed before his eyes every day. His own death could have happened at any moment. Even within this living hell, he did not break down mentally. Frankl observed that the prisoners who relied only on their own intellect quickly lost hope and died. However, those who kept a deep faith in the Creator or a higher power found a miraculous mental peace and the strength to survive even amidst extreme suffering. Because Frankl himself held that belief in his heart, he was able to endure the brutal torture of the concentration camp and ultimately return alive. Today, whenever an intense fear or uncertainty about the future surrounds you, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say, "Everything is not under my control. I leave the rest to the one who's running this universe." Chapter 18. Connecting with Everyone. A human being can never achieve fulfillment alone. Isolating oneself from everyone does not calm the mind, rather loneliness consumes the soul. Creating deep, selfless, and loving relationships with other people is essential. When we stand by others in their joys and sorrows and learn to love and be loved, the ego within us melts away and the soul finds supreme peace. When Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest emperors of ancient Rome and a Stoic philosopher, was immersed in plague epidemics, wars, and thousands of troubles of the empire, he had plenty of opportunities to become isolated or selfish. But he repeatedly reminded himself in his diary, humans are made for each other. Either teach them or endure them. He knew that as an emperor, his primary responsibility was to serve the people. Instead of creating distance from people, he built a bond of the soul with his subjects and soldiers. This relationship of love provided him with a deep mental peace and stillness even on the battlefield. Today, while speaking with a friend or family member, listen to one of their problems with deep attention and instead of giving any advice, simply assure them of your presence by their side. Chapter 19. Learning to Forgive. Harboring resentment, anger, or the fire of revenge inside your heart towards someone is like drinking poison yourself and expecting the other person to die. Forgiving others unconditionally is essential for the liberation of your own soul and for the sake of mental peace. Forgiving does not mean that you are supporting the wrongdoing of the other person. Forgiving means that you are not handing over the key to your peace to someone else. The great leader of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, spent 27 valuable years of his life imprisoned in a dark jail on Robben Island while fighting against apartheid. There, he was subjected to brutal mental and physical torture. When he was finally released in 1990 and subsequently elected as the president of the country, he could have severely punished those oppressive white rulers if he wanted to. Instead of doing that, he publicly forgave everyone. Mandela said, "As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." Because he renounced anger and liberated his soul, he was able to save a nation from destruction. Today, remember a person toward whom you have a long-standing anger or resentment. Forgive them completely in your mind and free your soul from all the negative thoughts held against them. Chapter 20. Dedicating life to a great cause. When there is no larger goal in life beyond one's petty self-interests, comfort, or mere money-making, the soul becomes idle and misguided. Recognizing a great purpose or calling larger than oneself and dedicating life to it is essential. When you realize that your life has a specific meaning and you are of some use to the world, only then will all the doubts within you vanish and a deep spiritual stillness will arrive. When the French scientist Louis Pasteur was researching chemistry and microbiology, he could have chosen just his own career and a comfortable life if he wanted to. Instead, he made the alleviation of human suffering the primary purpose of his life. When there was no treatment for rabies, and people and children infected with this disease died writhing like animals, Pasteur spent day after day in the laboratory to discover its vaccine. He himself could have been infected at any moment while collecting the saliva of mad dogs. He used to say, "The laboratory is the temple of the soul, where humans forget their own interests and work for the welfare of mankind." Because he had found this great purpose of his life, he was able to conquer all personal fears and exhaustion and continue to work in absolute peace. Today, take a little time to sit alone and ask yourself. Chapter 21. Accepting the Reality of Death. Death is not a matter of fear, rather it is the greatest teacher of life. In Stoic philosophy, this is called Memento Mori, remembering your own death. When you accept that everything in this world, including yourself, will one day come to an end, the minor problems, resentments, or desires of life will seem very trivial. This very truth liberates the soul from arrogance and fear and transforms it into absolute peace. When the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius was leading war from the front lines and his death could have happened at any moment, he wrote a quote in his diary which is one of the greatest philosophies in history. "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He did not fear death. Instead, he used death as a catalyst to live as a good human being in the present moment. The ancient Stoic masters believed that remembering death melts away all human greed, jealousy, and restlessness in a single second, and the soul achieves a strange, heavenly stillness. Today, close your eyes for at least 1 minute and think that today is the last day of your life. Feel for yourself how much this single thought reduces all the unnecessary anger, arrogance, and worry inside your mind.
An overview of the main message of each chapter. 11 things to do to maintain peace. Today, do one small good or honest deed that no one else will see and for which you expect no praise in return. Tonight, close your eyes in solitude, remember a painful memory from your childhood, and tell yourself, "Whatever happened was not under my control. I forgive myself." Today, before buying anything new, ask yourself, "Do I actually need this, or am I just buying it out of temporary greed?" This afternoon or evening, keep your laptop or mobile screen turned off for at least 10 minutes. Go to the veranda or roof of your house and watch the sky with a calm mind. Today, send a small message or say thank you to a person who did you a favor in the past but was never thanked. Today, whenever an intense fear of the future surrounds you, take a deep breath and say, "Everything is not under my control. I leave the rest to the universe." Today, listen attentively to a problem or painful story of one of your friends or family members without giving any advice. Today, remember a person toward whom you have a long-standing anger, and for the sake of your own peace, forgive them completely in your mind. Today, sit alone and ask yourself, through which of my actions can at least a small benefit happen to society, and find time for it. Today, close your eyes for at least 1 minute and think that today is the last day of your life.